Welcome back, my dear friends, to TEDS. Today we have a guest. As I have told you in the last video, we have a guest from the industry. One of my best friends. Having a best friend itself is very difficult nowadays. And he is one of my best friends in the industry, Arun Kumar Singh. I just normally relate him with a kind of a bundle of information and knowledge. Every time whenever I meet him, I know him for last 15 years. Whenever I meet him, whenever, whenever we have a discussion, a kind of an information that he transfers from his head is enormous. Sometimes he puts me into a kind of a doubt. Do I live in the same world where he is in? The kind of an information that he gives. I always used to tell him, jokingly maybe, you are an astrologer, a techie astrologer. You predict what is going to happen in the world after 5 years. It happens. He was talking to me when 6 years back, 7 years back, about 3D printing. Amazing, 7 years back. We have never even heard about 3D printing. Now everyone knows about that. And he is the person who can talk about what is going to be the world next. So I am very happy to welcome him to TEDS. And my dear friend is there for you. I just want to give you a few words about Arun Kumar Singh. He has been working in various industries like Wipro, Capgemini, Quinox in senior levels. He was a senior vice president of Wipro, Capgemini, and also Quinox. And he had been leading the business. He was a business head for Quinox also. Now, he has acquired an IT company called Garuda Infotech, and he is the founder CEO of the company. Let's not waste time. Arun, the stage is yours.
Hello. When my good friend Professor Edwin asked me to create this video with my views on the emerging technology trends, my first thought went on to a meeting we had in January. In fact, a series of lectures at an event where we had my industry experts, friends, as well as friends from the academic institutes. Almost 60% of the discussion there was focused on the digital transformation, digital disruption. Here we are today, about 5 months into the year 2020, and undergoing the lockdowns created in response to the coronavirus. The COVID-19 has acted or is acting as a catalyst to the digital disruption. A catalyst is something that increases the speed of a reaction. So digital disruption was going on. None of the business processes were left untouched by digital disruption. And here we are talking about even faster changes, even faster adoption of the digital technologies. The best way to understand the technology trends is to look into the business environment or economic environmental factors. A good way to do that is PEST analysis. PEST stands for political, economic, social, and technological factors that influence the environment in which business happens. At the end of the day, technology is for one reason only, to fulfill the needs in more effective and efficient ways, needs of the society, of the individuals. COVID-19 has impacted all the factors, all the economic and business environment factors, political, economic, social, and also technological. So We can analyze the trends in two ways: look at the needs and figure out how the technology will evolve, or, which will be a lengthy process, the alternate way to do that is to look at trends which are coming up. And I'm not going into the rationale of that. So let's look at a few trends that will shape the future. So let's start with first some digital technologies which were there, which were getting adopted, but where the pace is going to be much faster. So let's call it core technology changes. The first one that comes to mind is artificial intelligence and machine learning. There was a lot of discussion going on. There was also use that was happening, but not at a mass level. So soon we'll find huge use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in real life. One thing that will fuel it is the humongous amount of data that will get created. ML needs data, and that data will get created because of other things that we'll talk about. So AI and ML will get started getting used in real life. IoT solutions are going to become omnipresent. The fact that contactless at a distance is becoming a norm, it will facilitate massive use of IoT for remote monitoring, for remote operations. It will manifest in many forms. Some simple ones to understand are smart homes, smart fridges, smart equipment, smart gates, smart almost everything, and contactless, making things contactless as much as possible. The third technology that will gain a lot more momentum is analytics. When less contact with people will happen, then the decisions, including everything in the sales process too, would have to be based upon derived data and analytics. Today, when you go to a shop, the shopkeeper or the salesman looks at you, the body language, what you talk, and based upon that, identifies your preferences and brings out the pitch catering to that. Tomorrow, when you're not going to the shop and that physical contact is missing, how will things happen? That's where analytics will play an important role. So, data analytics, and it will be fueled by huge amount of data that gets generated because of even wider use of social media applications, even bigger use of IoT, as we discussed. E-commerce would both be data creators as well as user of analytics. And another thing that we'll talk later called digital twin, that will also lead to a humongous use of analytics. The fourth technology that has been there for some time, and I think the use will further increase, is blockchain. A simple way to look at blockchain is a data where you can just add something, but you cannot delete. The inability to delete ensures the continuity and the purity of the information. So blockchain, which is nothing but a digital ledger, uh, will remain and will become even widely used as the use of papers, registers for various things, property, etc., goes down. Another technology that has been there, but I think will gain momentum a lot more, is edge computing. So we had moved to cloud computing, where the processing and storage was on a cloud server somewhere. Now, that leads to one problem, which is the data latency problem, which edge computing will solve, especially with mobiles becoming so powerful. The ability to have some data and do the processing at the edge becomes important and becomes easier also, and removes many challenges with the cloud computing. So the edge computing would be another technology that will gain momentum, a huge momentum in the coming months and years. if since we're talking about years, another thing that will become important is quantum computing. Quantum computing is where we use qubits instead of uh, bits that we call, and the phenomenon of superposition and entanglement. So I'm not going deeper into the quantum physics or the fundamentals of quantum computing, but the real reason for quantum computing would be, we'll talk about 5G, that technology will bring a huge bandwidth, and the applications that we have today are becoming larger, better. They have better rendering of graphics, they do faster processing. In that environment, the ability to process even faster will come up, and quantum computing can play a significant role over there. So these were the six technologies which are there today, but whose adoption will see a significant increase. What it means to students is, if you're interested in the fundamental technology, these could be the areas to focus on. Well, let's talk about four more technologies whose use is going to become even more widespread. AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, they will lead to more immersive digital experience, and hence their use has to increase. A big reason for that is the society will move into, or will seek, a contactless and remote experience of the reality, and AR and VR can significantly help there. Think of any try before you buy concept, from automobiles to spectacles to um, let's say a dress. All of those could be experienced without going to the shop, to the dressing room, by using AR and VR. And the extended use of that could be on the digital twins. We'll talk about that in a moment. Human and machine interaction would move from the keyboards and the mouse, etc., and also from gesture onto a more natural language. So natural language processing would play a significant role in human-like interactions. Why should we talk to the machines not what is the most common way of that we do, which is talk? So natural language processing will see a significant adoption happening. Autonomous vehicles have been there, but there will be significantly more work happening on that. They will be electrical, of course, driverless. And I think the most important thing that will have a social impact would be that these vehicles may not be owned by individuals. They may be part of fleets. So there may be significant reduction in individual owned vehicles. And let me pick up one last, and there are many more, but let me pick up one last to end this discussion on the core technologies. It is intelligent process automation. With work from home, remote working becoming important, all the enterprises from manufacturing to the services will try to see, will try to reduce all the structured and repetitive business processes. They will try to move them and automate them using computers and mechanical devices. So intelligent process automation would be something that will grow by leaps and bounds. Let's move on to some more interesting technology trends that will come up, apart from the core that will power anyhow the changes. Digital twin, that has been talked for some time, but I think it's going to become reality soon. A digital twin is a copy of a physical object, for example, a person. So all constructive and predictive enhancements, repairs, treatments, etc., can be done on the digital twin. Uh, Another trend that will come up, and I'll use the terms used by uh, Professor Prahlad and C.K. Ramaswamy, co-creation. So co-creation was where the customer and the vendors sit down and create a solution. I see co-creation moving into the next level where human beings and machines will interact and do the co-creation. So this will be co-creation with machines. That would be another important uh, trend that will come up in the future. Uh, One thing that digital technology has done and digital disruption has done is impacted the customer preferences. And the way it has impacted is customers have become even more picky and choosy. Their preferences have become even more precise. Earlier they were compromising, but now with abundance of information and availability of the products and services, the preferences have become even more hardcore. In that environment, the companies would have to A, using analytics, understand the customer preferences, and B, go to hyper personalization, give to a customer exactly what he wants as per his preferences. It could be in colors, it could be in shape, it could be in different forms. So, hyper personalization is another trend that will catch up and it will become competitive advantage to whosoever adopts it fast. Another trend that I have been following and I think it will catch up really speed is 3D and 4D printing. 3D printing we are all familiar now. It has become like an old concept. 4D printing is nothing new, but think of a 3D printed object that when exposed to certain forces, be it environmental forces, temperature, pressure, etc., it evolves into yet another shape. So 3D printed shape, which evolves under certain environmental constraints of under certain forces into another shape. So that is 4D. So 3D and 4D printing is going to gain even more speed and momentum. If I have to quickly catch up on a few more technologies without going into details, uh, it would be nanotech, genetic engineering, 5G is coming. It is going to provide a big pipe to us. Autonomous aerial vehicles for many reasons, from security, monitoring to service delivery everywhere. So these will be few other technologies in the big list of technologies of interest that we can pursue to be successful in the coming uh, couple of years. Now let's look at the impact of those changes onto our life. First would be e-commerce, online shopping, and robotic delivery. Anything that was not online will have to go online. And I would not be surprised if in India we see even the kirana, the corner kirana shops, the sweet shops, and even the thilawalas using some form of online order placement and thereafter delivery happening. So online e-commerce is going to become omnipresent. Contactless payment is another thing that would be widely practiced. And I'm sure there is a lot more. India is a leader when it comes to digital payments. But on the contactless side, I think there's a lot more that's going to come. That could be area of working for the in future for the tech companies and services companies. Remote working. I don't think it's a surprise anymore. We have been hearing in news, from services companies to the manufacturing companies across. So remote working is going to be the new norm. Remote and augmented education. Remote education is where you use the online media of education, and augmented is where the students or pupils can see things using augmented reality or in different ways to understand it better. For example, think of the structure of an atom or quantum physics, right? It's so difficult to comprehend it if it's written in a book. but imagine if a model shows it, or using a AR or VR, you are able to experience it. So soon, I think we'll venture into that area from online education to augmented uh, realities use of in education. Health services is a very important thing. So remote health services will gain significant uh, uh, momentum. It will in many forms, telemedicine, home diagnostics. So today for telemedicine, still you have to give reports and you have to go to some lab and get the parameters measured over there. Soon, there will be home devices that could be used to do various measurements of different parameters that could be used by the doctors who are at a distance to diagnose and prescribe the medicines. Home and online entertainment is another important area. So far, most of the entertainment was on the pavilions and theaters. Now, thanks to the lockdowns, it has moved to home. Films are getting released on the digital channels instead of getting released in the theaters. A lot more of that's going to happen. So the focus is going to be the home entertainment center that people have. And I mean, by entertainment center, I mean whatever device they have. And club AR VR on that and delivery content onto that device so that in the comfort of their house, while being away, they can enjoy it. So, home and online entertainment is going to be an important area of innovation. This, on the similar trend, digital events, concerts to pujas to sports events are going to be the new norm. Video, and I would extend it to holographic communication. Holographic may take still some time, but video communication, especially with 5G coming, it's from a pure voice we are going to move on to more of a video, and soon the video communication will move from the handheld mobiles onto other bigger form display devices that we have in our houses. Automated asset tracking, it could be using satellites to various RFIDs, various other forms, but automated asset tracking across is another area that will come up. And towards the end, let me pick up something that's could be a bit funny but very interesting. Uh, we are talking about new norm being work from home, and when you work from home, you need to have an office space. It will not be far away when you'll be able to go to a shop and buy a 6 by 6 office with almost everything in it. Connect a power cable, the 6 by 6 office will have will become completely functional. It will have connectivity, it will have workspace, it will have AC, everything else. So imagine us going to the shops and buying our 6 by 6 or whatever dimensions cubicle that could be put in a house, one corner, and it's a complete thing in itself. So, in summary, the digital technologies that we had, which were getting adopted, they were getting adopted in a faster way, of course, and that's where we coined the term digital disruption. But Corona, this event or this pandemic, has really acted as a catalyst, and we'll see the speed of adoption, the speed of disruption being much, much, much faster. Businesses which do not adopt the digital technologies and the trends that we talked about, and many more, of course, that can come up if we have more time, will perish. So, adoption of the digital technologies is going to be a matter of survival. Thank you very much.